YouTube people, what is going on? Northeast Ohio here for the weekly sports card market update that we missed last week because of the National. First time I have missed a weekly in probably around a year, if not over a year. I think I did the first one in June and hadn't missed a week since. But I was driving back from the National that day. I already recorded a bunch of other national videos. I thought about doing it on Monday, but I wanted to get national thoughts out there as quickly as possible. So it is what it is. Sometimes you just got to miss a week, but it wasn't like there wasn't content posted, just not the normal weekly one. So we'll do this one a little bit different today. I looked at 2 weeks worth of data instead of one, since we did skip a week. And sometimes I actually think that's helpful. Sometimes I feel like you do miss some stuff when you just look at like every 7 day trends. Because I've mentioned this before. Cards that like go up, 2 or 3% a week don't necessarily fall on the like pop up on your radar because you're like, it went up 2%, whatever. But if the same card goes up 2% week after week after week after week, after 3 or 4 weeks, maybe it's up 10, 15%. Then that's something you want to take notice of. So I do think it's helpful to look back a little longer than 7 days every now and again. The 7 day thing just kind of helps you catch if something really went crazy one way or the other. So, news wise, there's a lot of shenanigans out there. I still have not had time to dig into the eBay tool that launched while I was at the National, and quite frankly, I just forgot about it because of national stuff and recovering from that and playing catch up on content and interviews and the whole 9 yards. So that happened. There's some other things that happened, but the big thing was, in my opinion, was the eBay tool. Team USA, NBA free agency kind of shook the snow globe a little bit. Olympic nonsense, all sorts of wild stuff out there. What else has been going on? Local show on Saturday, and boy, am I blessed with local shows in the month of August. So this past weekend was the Canton Hall of Fame show. Next weekend is a show in Hartville on Saturday. The Xenia, Ohio show is also on Saturday. Sunday is the Rated Rip show in Canton, Ohio, at the Holiday Inn. This is their second time running that show. So it's not the normal Canton monthly show, but that one will be on Saturday. Rated Rips will be on Sunday. Shout out to Rated Rips. They're good people. The following weekend then is the normal Canton show, and then that Sunday is a Holiday Inn show in Youngstown, Ohio. So if you live in the Northeast Ohio area, you have 4 shows plus one down towards Dayton / Cincinnati / Columbus and Xenia. There's a lot going on. So I guess I'll be putting some miles on cars the next couple weeks. I'm not sure what the plan is if I'll go down to the Xenia show. That's a trek, but I do have a PSA order to pick up from Card Collector 2. So I need to try to get down there and snag that at some point in time. Just a lot going on. And I feel great coming off the National. Vibe is good. I've been doing a lot of buying, sold some stuff. Video coming later. I sold a pretty big card. If you watch Dakota's live stream on Friday night, Sports Cards Anonymous, I kind of leaked out what that was on that, but I'll do a full video on that once it's been delivered and everything looks good with that transaction. So I don't want to jinx anything. But I did move a big card. I think I have an interesting, story time we could do on that and different decisions and kind of how they, affect things and sliding doors and all that stuff. So, local show was good yesterday. I picked up a Luca Revolution base PSA 10, nothing crazy. Got it for $350, slightly under comps. Good deal. I didn't even actually go back and forth with the guy. He said, I know they're going for 400. I'm at 350 on it. I said, done. When you see the good deal, don't go back and forth over 10 or 15 bucks. Just roll with it. Same thing being said, Jeff, one of the dealers that I talk to all the time, he was set up at the National. I was there. It was actually a 2-day show. I was there Friday night right after work, right before they closed up. And I said, I have like a big pile of raw stuff. Would you be interested in this? And he said, sure, comp it out, bring it back. So Friday night comped it all out, big stack of raw stuff, probably about 50 cards, give or take, mostly modern NBA, some other stuff mixed in there. I gave him a comp about 70% under eBay. He came back at about 60% of eBay. And I said, sure. It was raw stuff. I wasn't going to do anything with it. I've been holding it forever, and it was decent stuff. It was like jaw-based Prism, tray-based Prism, some Karl Anthony Towns-based Prism. But I just, quite frankly, would have rather had the cash than the stack of cards. I've talked about this before a lot. I've moved away from Raw as much as possible just to buy in and out of slabs. Would I get back into Raw once grading opens back up again for normal people? Maybe. But as of right now, I just want to carry slabs in my case and not Raw. And a lot of dealers won't even look at Raw that much anymore. There is definitely a segment that will, but there is a segment that won't. Unless it's graded, they don't even want to deal with it. It's just easier to sell graded because you don't have to worry about condition nonsense. So could I have made more money on that just piecing it out and listing a bunch of eBay auctions and, go through all the rigmarole? Absolutely. I 100% could have done that. I left money on the table. But on the flip side, it would have taken me a lot more time. And it's going to take him time to make money off of it. So, I comped it out. I gave him a number. He gave me a number back. I thought about it for a minute and I said, sure. And like I said, I probably gave him about a 30 or 40% discount off eBay comps. I'm going to lose 10% to eBay anyway. And then that extra 30%, that's him putting in the work that I'm not willing to put in for a large stack of Raw stuff. So I was perfectly happy with it. So he'll do good with it. He probably, I made sure I went first thing in the morning so he'd have all day to try to sell it today. So it worked out great. And I also sold my last 3 SGC slabs are gone. Shout out to the guy that runs the show, the Canton show. We were talking about SGC with a couple of the dealers there. And I had the Luka Optic Base, the Trey Prism, and the Ja Morant Blue Velocity. And I moved all those as well. So I actually walked out of the show with a decent chunk of cash and the Luka Revolution. So I have some money to play with the shows upcoming, trying to restock the coffers before or post national. So with that all nice little intro, let's go ahead and dive in to Market Movers, link down below if you want to check it out. And this video is sponsored by our good friends at MySlabs. Talked about this a lot over the last couple weeks in various community posts and whatnot. Make sure before you buy a card, check all the buying and selling platforms. There are deals to be had out there. In fact, I just pulled the deal on a new Trae Young card on MySlabs. I tracked it down on MySlabs. They were $150 cheaper than the last buy it now on eBay. And I saved money on, taxes, and the seller will save money on fees. So it allowed him to price the card a little bit lower because 1% seller fees. And it allowed me to get a better deal on the card and the seller to make out better. So always remember, check the alternative buying platforms and selling platforms, especially MySlabs with their very nice 1% seller fees. So quick word from our sponsor, and then we will dive on into Market Movers.
Tired of paying 10%, 15%, or more to sell your cards, comics, and digital collectibles? How does 1% sound? Too good to be true? Well, not anymore. MySlabs.com is the web's premier user-driven marketplace for buying and selling slabbed cards, sealed wax, and now slabbed comics and digital collectibles. So the next time you're forced to pay 10% or more to sell something from your collection, head over to MySlabs.com and join the 1% revolution.
Once again, thank you to our friends at MySlabs. I'll link to them in the description down below, but go check them out. They also do comic books too, which is a nice little handy feature for someone like myself. Let's go ahead and dive into Market Movers. We're going to start with NBA. We'll cover all 3, but mostly be focused on NBA, a little bit of NFL, and a little bit of baseball. This wasn't so much one that popped up. It was just one I was more curious about. Zion and Ja, silver PSA 10 prisms. So I looked back at their last 180 days and I found where it kind of bottomed out at. And it looks like it hit the bottom in mid-June, around June 15th or 16th. Zion got down to about 2,800 and Ja got down to about 1,200, give or take. I know Filmington, shout out to Filmington, bought a Zion PSA 10 silver at the National for 2,700 cash, which would be one of the most lowest recorded sales. Obviously, that was a cash deal, a little different, but I feel like he got a pretty good deal on that at the National. So over the last, what do we want to call this? 3 weeks, they are slowly creeping back up again. But if you go back prior to this date, it was 100% going down. So not huge spikes here, but like we've been talking about for a couple weeks now, it appears that the NBA has hit the bottom and certain things are causing guys to spike back up again. I did the Luca video yesterday. It looks like Luca got a bump, probably spurred on by the Olympics. Spoilers for an upcoming slide here. KD got a bump. Uh, so the NBA market does seem to be showing signs of life. The question that I asked yesterday, which I'm still not sure about, is does it hold? Is this going to be a temporary bump like we saw with football? Remember, football spiked really early last year, almost right after the Super Bowl. Football spiked in the spring and then went down from there prior to the season starting, and is now flattened out. And we're kind of waiting still for football to spike back up again. So the question is now, is NBA about to go on a little bit of a run? And does it hold or does it dip back down again? Like I said, we've seen Luca kind of lead the charge. Trey has been following. KD is now spiking because of the Olympic stuff. And the nice thing I like about this Zion and Ja movement is that it's nice and slow. 10% over three weeks feels just fine. Just nice little small incremental gains. And once again, we're looking at the silver, not the base. Pop about 1,300 on each one of those. So nice little slow and steady movement there. Mentioned Trey Young at the tail end of yesterday's Luca video. This is his silver prism. Once again, PSA 10. This is over the last 14 days, up 20%. Started the week or started the 2 week period at 1,200, ended the week at around 1,500. I think this is a case because he had no Olympics. He's not in the Olympics, but I think this was a case of when Luca moves, Trey kind of moves in tandem with Luca, assuming that it's in the off seasons. I think Luca going off in the Olympics, and like I said, I talked about this yesterday. I don't want to spend a ton of time on it. I think Luca going off in the Olympics kind of reminded everybody that NBA cards exist, if that makes sense. And that, oh yeah, that Luca guy's really good. His prices started to shoot up. People start to look at other stuff and go, oh man, that Trey Young guy, he's super cheap. His prices are flat. Luca, Zion, Ja, etc. I think that kind of lifted everything up a little. It gave a little boost to the NBA market. So Trey stuff going up really nice. If you believe in the Trey bump, I believe there are still a lot of cards that you could get. I actually made a move on a Trey Young yesterday, Friday night. I picked up, I don't have it yet, but I'll spoil it here. Grabbed a Trey Young Optic Hollow PSA 10 rookie. Very low pop, only 150. And it had not seen the price increase like the silver had yet. And one hadn't sold for a while. So every once in a while, I think you could carve out a little bit of extra value add on those lower pop cards. And as well documented, I love Optic Hollows and Optic Color. Specifically Optic Hollows. They are very low pop and they are gorgeous looking cards. Like I said, the Trey Young in a PSA 10 is like pop 150. So I'm excited to get that. The guy shipped it out on Saturday, so hopefully I should have it middle of the week next week to show off. So if you don't follow me on Instagram, feel free to follow me on Instagram. It's in the link to the description down below, and Twitter. I usually end up posting mail day videos that show off whatever I buy, but I usually spoil it first on IG because I can't resist taking a photo and throwing it up there. It is what it is. So if you want to see that stuff, feel free to give me a follow on the old social media platforms. But yeah, Trey on the move up. Once again, we talked about Luca, and then NBA free agency happened this week. A couple of the big moves. Westbrook, he got a mini price spike. I didn't pull. I looked at his charts. I didn't end up keeping it. It spiked up and then kind of went right back down again. It looks like it was kind of temporary. His 2008 Topps Chrome base PSA 10 definitely got a little bump, but then came right back down again. That was the talk of the National on Friday. When that I think it was Friday when that deal went down, Friday or Saturday. But the other one that got was a big move was Lonzo. PSA 10 Prism, up a decent little amount. Once again, 2 week stretch here, from $80 to $110, up 32%, and it actually got all the way up to 127. Came back down again. I actually snagged one of these for about $80 2 weeks ago on Star Stock. I just have it sitting in my inventory. There's been a lot of talk. One, I thought maybe he would get a bump depending on where he went, and he got a little bit of a one. I'm actually intrigued by how he's going to play on that team. There's been some talk that, the whole workout in the off season thing, whatever, but I'm a little intrigued by Lonzo. And for the pop count, which is kind of lowish, 2,700 for a base. It's that's a it's a decent sized number, but it's not. When you get in the 17, the base cards are a little bit more rare. But for $80, 85, I think I paid for it. I don't remember. It seemed like a worthwhile snap, and just kind of see what happens. Just gobbled it up, and I'll just sit on it. And I'm in no hurry to move it. But slightly intrigued by Lonzo, and I hate to say that. That is not, Jeff Wilson did not infect me with Lonzo Ball fever at the National, but I don't know. I'm just intrigued by the price point and the play, and him getting a fresh start on the Bulls. Seems weird that the Pelicans didn't want him. That one doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. I really don't know what the Pelicans are doing, and that's coming from someone that's a big fan of David Griffin because he brought the Cavs a championship, and I thought he was a wizard when he was here. But he has not impressed me with his Pelicans makeover to this point, and that's gonna be a little troublesome for Zion cards for the next couple of years. I am truly beginning to wonder if Zion will be the first player not to take the qualifying offer and to opt to get out of his contract earlier and not take the rookie max extension. That would be wild. It's never happened before. You leave a ton of money on the table when you do that. But if I was him, I don't know that I would want to tie myself to that franchise for another 5 years after his rookie deal runs out because I don't know what they're doing down there. I really don't. KD, we talked about this briefly. I am recording this early Saturday afternoon when I got back from the Canton show. There's probably going to be a bigger bump in this if you look at the charts on Sunday or Monday. As of right now, he is only up 7% on this in his PSA 10. But these only ran through midnight last night, I believe. Let me see. I could probably look here and do this live. That looks like still pretty accurate. A couple 4400s in there. That's still pretty dead on, but not many have sold. But KD did get a little bit of a bump, 10% bump, 7% bump. And I know that my old buddy Flipping Steve was looking at some KD and he said his watch list got wiped out on a bunch of KD stuff last night. When I say last night, Friday night and Saturday, because of the Olympic gold medal performance. And KD played absolutely amazing, and they would not have won the gold medal without him. I do think KD's stuff got a little too cheap. I did have a goal to get a PSA 9 Topps Chrome Kevin Durant at one point in time, but I missed the window on that. It's like up to $1,200 now. It was down to 9. I could have pulled the trigger on one. It was a little bit before the National, and I didn't want to put the money out. Is what it is, but I'm still happy with what I ended up doing with that cash. So sometimes you win some, sometimes you lose some. Just move on to the next one. There will be other opportunities. There always are. But yeah, KD stuff getting a little bump. Giannis still on the way down over the last 2 weeks. His stuff spiked all the way up. I think his PSA 10 got up to about $2,700, $2,600 the night of the NBA Finals, and it's doing the thing that it normally does. It spiked way up because he won the championship, and then immediately cools right back off again because the market gets flooded with inventory. More sellers than buyers, price goes down. So over the last 2 weeks, he's actually down 20% from 2,500 to 2K. It looks like it hit 1,900 and then spiked back up to just under 2,100. I'm wondering if I had to guess, I think around 2K is going to be the floor on this card for a while. I could be wrong on that. I don't think it gets back down to 1,500 in the offseason. Maybe it goes a little bit under 2,000, but I feel like with the NBA title now and 2-time MVP and I believe a Defensive Player of the Year award, NBA Finals award, I think he has a pretty high floor on his stuff anymore. I don't know what the ceiling is because I don't know that I see a path for them winning another title, assuming health in the East. The Nets team is still going to be really good, as KD just showed. He's very good at basketball. If they could stay remotely healthy. The Heat have gotten a lot better. We don't know what the 76ers are yet, but I'm just assuming a Ben Simmons trade to somewhere is going to happen, and they're going to look a lot better. So the Bucks going back to the finals is no sure thing. And they lost PJ Tucker, not a big name, but an important player for them. We'll see what ends up happening with there, but it could be a while before Giannis wins another NBA title is kind of what I'm saying. And maybe the next one does not come with the Bucks. We'll see. Moving right along, another one cooling off quite a bit recently. After the pre-national hype fest, LeBron Topps Chrome PSA 10 is down. Well, it's kind of a little all over the place, honestly. One sold for 1,800, then one went for 16, then one went for 20, then for 15.5, and then for 15. So back-to-back sales between 15 and 1600. I'm going to put it in that range. I believe cash at the National, you probably could have got one for around 14. I believe I saw multiple sales at around that number. I think Sasha posted a couple videos moving them around that number, which is reasonable when you consider, a 15K card on eBay. You lose 10% of that to eBay fees, actually a little bit more than that to eBay fees. 1400 is more than reasonable on that card for a cash transaction if the last comp is 15, or even really 15.5 or 16. 14 is not a terrible ask for cash in person. Done deal. So we'll see where this card ends up settling in at. PSA 9 and PSA 8 still doing strong. My PSA 8 that I purchased personally is up just a little tiny bit, but I didn't buy that to quick flip it. Nines are holding steady. BGS 9.5s are holding steady. Everything seems to be right in line with the world. We will see where they go. He got a little minor bump there on the Westbrook trade. I think that was the 20K sale. Then it came right back down again. So we'll see where that settles in as the summer moves on. But we are now officially, so it's the start of August, September. We're only 3 months away from the NBA season. We're about to get Summer League. And then the NBA season is going to go into its lull after Summer League. And that's when I'll be curious to see if prices rehold or they dip back down again. If they do, I would definitely be looking for some more stuff to pick up. Quick pop in the football. We're running a little long here, but we missed a week, so it is what it is. I mentioned this in the football video earlier this week. Jacob Eason got a huge bump, up 164% to $228. Yes, they're not trading for anybody. Yes, it looks like it's going to be his job to go to, either thrive or fail. Personally, if I had Eason, you probably got into him at bargain basement prices. Listen, I'm just saying what I would normally do, how I typically play this kind of stuff. I generally try to be risk averse and take the profits where they come. If I was in the Eason for next to nothing and I could sell for a massive profit, 2, 3, 5, 10x, I'm moving it. Yes. Could he go on and become a perfectly good NFL quarterback? Sure. What are the chances of that? I don't know. But I would rather just take the profit off Eason, take that money, and go put it into something else. That's just me. That's how I roll. I try to limit downside risk as much as possible. When this stuff spikes, what I have learned over the years is you are better off to just sell it. Since I got back in 2018, that general rule has served me pretty well. Are there some times I kick myself that I sold too early? Yes. More often than not, I go, whew, boy, am I glad I moved off that because it dropped 10, 20, 30, 40% over the next few months. You're going to get some right, you're going to get some wrong. But if a card 5X's overnight and you always sold one at 5X overnight, guess what? You're doing pretty darn good in this business or side hustle or whatever you want to call it. So to each their own. I don't have any Eason stuff, so I don't have to make this decision. But take Eason out of it. Something like this happens. There's some rare extenuating circumstances where maybe this isn't the case. If it is truly a player you absolutely believe in long term, like a LeBron or a Luka or whatever. But even in those situations, unless it's a super rare card, they let you buy the stuff back. So you could, if you really like the player, odds are it's going to dip back down again. Don't get cute. Try to time the peak. Take your nice return. Get the money. Go make some other plays, and you could always circle back to that card later in life if you really want it back again. So, just this little small the side story there, whatever you want to call that. Deshaun Watson up 15% on the hype of him being at practice, but not actually practicing, and trade rumors swirling again. Listen, I don't really think he ends up playing a snap this year. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm right. I don't know. To me, especially at the new price at $750 almost for his PSA 10 silver, no thanks. No thanks. And maybe I'm like slightly jaded by this because I got burned on him once with the earlier star stock play that I talked about a few months ago before he got in trouble. I just think there's too much smoke there. I really don't know if he plays it down this year. Maybe he does. Maybe he gets dealt and his prices spike more. But just being honest, if I had $700 and some to throw into a player, there's just way better options that have maybe not as much upside. I get it. There's a big upside here, but there's a massive downside, a massive one. I mean, it could come out tomorrow that he's suspended he's on the commissioner's exempt list and not playing for the entire season. Done. Or he could face legitimate jail time. Criminal charges haven't been pressed yet, but not saying that that couldn't happen. To each their own there. If you're super risky, if you like to live life on the edge, maybe Watson's a play, but it's not for me. Dak, PSA 10 Silver Prism, up 23%. He has a little bit of a shoulder injury. They made it sound like it's not serious. If that ends up being the case, I think Dak's one of the more forgotten about quarterbacks. Now, this card has moved up. I actually sold my PSA 9 at the National. Um, Once again, probably missed a little bit of profits on that, but I made a few bucks on it. I moved it. It was fine. Took that money and bought some Baker Mayfield and some other stuff. So, but that stuff seems to be on the move. His optic hasn't moved quite yet. Maybe this is just a pop count play. Don't know. Maybe people just like the silver better. I'm a little slightly concerned by the shoulder injury, but I'm not going to sweat it. He was playing out of his mind last year before he got hurt. So we'll see if he could pick up where he left off. But that team looks like it's going to be pretty good, at least offensively. In general, just some general NFL thoughts. I went to dig in and, we talked about it a lot and multiple channels have talked about it. Roth Cards talked about it. Mealy Pops talked about it. Flipping Steve talked about it. Football quarterbacks were the talk of the Nationals, specifically the 18 class. Roth Cards mentioned that Josh Allen and Baker were flying out of his case as fast as he could put them in there. They were the most liquid things of the show. I've echoed the same statement. I did not talk to Roth Cards. I do not know him. I just happened to watch his national recap video. And those prices are not moving online. I looked at Baker. I looked at Allen. I looked at Lamar. I looked at Kyler. All that stuff is like ever so slightly up, but not big jumps. And those players were definitely moving at the national. Obviously, that's at or close to comps, but it has not translated to the outside world yet. So I don't know on the football side of things. Is there just a little bit of lag there? Or are people just don't know what to do with football? I have moved off most of my football other than Baker stuff. I have one Dak and then pretty much all Baker stuff when it comes to football. But once again, I don't like to carry football inventory into season. I have some football on Star Stock too. I always forget about Star Stock. I do have football on Star Stock. I don't remember what exactly because I had a lot of it shipped home for the Nationals. So, but once again, I'm very curious to see how football plays out over the next month. What does the football market do over the month of August? Because I think that's going to dictate what happens when we get into season in regards to potential plays for players that could spike up for good performance if they don't get the spikes in the preseason. So we'll see what happens. See what happens. Quick touching on baseball. Not going to spend a ton of time here. Just a couple cards to talk about. Ohtani stuff slightly coming back down again. Not surprising. There's only so long those cards can stay super hot. This is his base Topps Chrome refractor, pink refractor, and just straight base. 2018 Topps Chrome, not the update. All down about 5 to 10%. Once again, not super surprising. There was a ton of Ohtani stuff at the National. I mean, a ton of Ohtani stuff. Devers finally getting a little love. His base refractor, once again, Topps Chrome. Base level refractor, Topps Chrome, up 20% on the week to 220. And the pink played a little bit of catch up from 150 to 225, up 49%. Usually, what I found when I've looked at this like 18, 19, 20 Topps Chrome stuff, other than Soto, the Chrome and the base refractor stay pretty. I'm sorry, the pink and the regular refractor are usually fairly similar in price. The regular refractor is a little more popular, but it also has a little higher pop than the pink. Pinks are usually about 20% less, 30% less than the regular refractor. It just depends. It does vary from player to player, but they usually generally stay around the same price. So the pink did a little bit of catch up here, but regardless, Devers stuff is up about 20%, give or take. His base chrome did not move though. It stayed flat at around 100. So that's a little bit interesting. I did pick up that Devers purple at the National. I was glad to get some of him. Really just wanted his base refractors, but I could not find them anywhere. It was either super high end stuff or nothing for what I saw for Devers at the National. So But glad to pick up that purple. Not sure what I'm going to do with that yet. And then the other really big winner of the week, Bo Bichette, getting a little, late season hype machine. And he's actually playing pretty good. You look at his numbers, and he's like sneakily having a real nice season. I think he's batting around 300, has almost 20 home runs, decent amount of RBIs. That Blue Jays team's pretty good. I don't think they're going to make the playoffs, but it'll be close. This is once again, his Topps Chrome, base, refractor, and pink, all up a decent portion. Base Chrome is up 30%. Refractor's up 25%. Pink's only up 5. The one is not sold for 2 days. I'm going to guess the next pink that goes off the board will be around this $200 price point, give or take. Once again, sometimes these lower pop things lag a little bit behind the regular refractors, and about 100 difference on the pop count between those two cards. But yeah, pink hasn't sold yet. You can see on the charts, the green line is the pink. The pink line is the base refractor. Boy, that's not confusing. The pink line is not the pink. The green is the pink. Just blew my own mind. So, regular refractor shot up the last few days. No pink has sold, so be curious to see what the next one looks like there. But if you could find one for the old comp, maybe get a little bit extra value. I'm intrigued by Bichette, but I feel like I missed the window. So, I guess he's still fairly reasonably priced compared to a lot of other guys. But like $200 for his base refractor at that price, honestly, I would rather just pay $20 more and get a Devers, to be quite honest. Especially because Devers is probably most definitely going to the playoffs, and I don't think the Blue Jays are going to get there, though it could be close. We'll see. I haven't checked MLB standings for a while, but last time I looked, Blue Jays were hanging around, but like more hanging than around, if that makes sense. So that's all I got for you guys and girls today. Like, comment, subscribe, all the YouTube stuff down below. Go check out our friends at My Slabs, the sponsor for this video, if you want 1% seller fees for cards and comics and even NFTs, though we don't really do a lot of NFTs around here. And go do some shopping on there as well. Like I said, deals to be had. If you sell on My Slabs and you price correctly and you give that little bit of discount off eBay, you will move product on there for sure. So, but yeah, Monday video, gonna dive into some comic book talk. Have not done that for a while. So we're gonna dive into that, and then not sure what we're doing for Tuesday yet, but we'll see what the week brings. Peace.